Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunjabi Hari Jaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Rukmini Dakadish, Rukmini Dakadish, Rukmini Dakadish, Rukmini Dakadish. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. Jayam Viṣṇu Purāṇa Paramahamsa, Parivrajacharya Astottarasat, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana ki, Vrindavan Dhama ki, Mayapur Navadvip Dhama ki, Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Parambara. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today reading from text 12 of Canto 3, chapter 27, Understanding Material Nature. It's 12, right? Yeah. Yathā jala-sthaḥ sthala-sthենāvadṛśyate sva-ābhāsena tathā sūryo jala-sthena divi sthitaḥ yathā jala-sthaḥ ābhāsaḥ sthala-sthենāvadṛśyate sva-ābhāsena tathā sūryo jala-sthena divi sthitaḥ yathā jala-sthaḥ ābhāsaḥ sthala-sthենāvadṛśyate sva-ābhāsena tathā sūryo jala-sthena divi sthitaḥ jala-sthaḥ. Anyone else? Hare Krishna. Ladies? Word for word, yathā as jala-stha, situated on water, ābhāsaḥ, a reflection, sthala-sthena, situated on the wall. Avadṛśyate is perceived, sva-ābhāsena, by its reflection, tathā, in that way. Sūryaḥ, the sun, jala-sthena, situated on the water. divi, in the sky, sthitaḥ, situated. Translation: the presence of the Supreme Lord can be realized just as the sun is realized first as a reflection on water and again as a second reflection on the wall of a room, although the sun itself is situated in the sky. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The example given herewith is perfect. The sun is situated in the sky, far, far away from the surface of the earth, but its reflection can be seen in a pot of water in a corner of a room. The room is dark and the sun is far away in the sky, but the sun's reflection on the water illuminates the darkness of the room. A pure devotee can realize the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything by the reflection of his energy. In the Viṣṇu Purāṇa, it is stated that as the presence of fire is understood by heat and light, so the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although one without a second, is perceived everywhere by the diffusion of his different energies. It is confirmed in the Īśopaniṣad that the presence of the Lord is perceived everywhere by the liberated soul, just as the sunshine and the reflection can be perceived everywhere, although the sun is situated far away from the surface of the globe. Translation: the presence of the Supreme Lord can be realized just as the sun is realized first as a reflection on water and again as a second reflection on the wall of a room, although the sun itself is situated in the sky. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swakarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Tam Svitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Damsra Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Dapta Kanchana Gourangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The presence of the Supreme Lord can be realized just as the sun is first realized as a reflection on water and again as a second reflection on the wall of a room, although the sun itself is situated in the sky far, far away. Such a beautiful imagery. We can think about how beautiful the sunlight is reflecting on the water, and this is our inner world, the world of our mind, where we have the reflection of Krishna within our consciousness. Balamukunda Manasa Smarami. May my mind always be fixed on beautiful, childlike Krishna. Or as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhaja Hure Mana Srinanda Nandana. Mama Mana Mandire Rahunisijin. May I remember day and night the Lord. And may my mind be like a mandir, like a temple. And within that temple, I offer puja of my love. May it always be like that. The sun is mentioned 3 times in this chapter, in different what's the word? Ways of talking about it. In text 1, really, the sun is talked about as how the sun remains aloof from its reflection, how the soul in this material incarnation needs to, by remembering Krishna, remember detachment from the material world and the things around us. Although those things are there and we have to deal with them, they're not absolute reality for us. They're just functional things, and we practice detachment from those things. And then in text 10 again, it's mentioned, the sun is mentioned again. Thus realizing freedom from the false ego, one should see his own self just as he sees the sun in the sky. And I was thinking about how luminous the sun is for us, and also how we forget just how luminous we are in our purity. You know, Jivera Swaro Pohoi Krishna Nityadas. In our purity, who we really are is part and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna. And we forget that. You know, we think about how powerful and beautiful and radiant is Krishna, but we have a part of him in our heart also. We're actually empowered beings. We can do a lot of things. And so this is reminding us that, of course, this is to a much lesser degree. We're very, very small, and Krishna is very great. So when Krishna is like the ocean, then we're like a drop of ocean water. But still, we have a lot of those qualities. We don't have all of them, but we have a lot of the qualities of Krishna within us in our purified state. So we want to purify ourselves as much as possible. That soul, that beautiful soul, is now encased within a meat body, you know, which is created or built out of our previous karmas, our previous activities, our previous thoughts. And that has also formed our limiting circumstances that we find ourselves in, and our limiting, our mind, how our mind is wild or controlled, and all that's because of our previous activities, and we get this body which we're stuck in. But so it's interesting, this verse, that the sun is mentioned as the reflection on the wall, because according to Vastu, the temple should face eastward, so that the sunlight in the morning as it's rising will enter into the temple. But our temple is facing the opposite direction, because east is over there. And it's amazing that you'll notice, I'm sure all of you noticed, that in the morning, Krishna's made such an arrangement that the sun comes to the temple, even though the sun rises over there, and there's no windows on this side. Because the sunlight being reflected, not in the water, because we don't have much water in Los Angeles, but we have a lot of glass. And we have a big glass Brotman Medical Center just over there. And the rising sun reflects into the glass on the Brotman Medical Center and comes in and shines on the wall of the temple every morning. It's really amazing. And then also the sun at sunset at certain times of the year will peep in through the windows here and fall right onto the deities. It's the most gorgeous darshan, because they're all bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. It's really beautiful. So I was thinking how the sun is such a befitting imagery when we're thinking about Krishna, because it's really on the aspect of his grandeur, his powerfulness, and that's one aspect of Krishna, Aishwarya. And but in the Madhurya relationship, then Krishna is most often referred to in imagery of the moon. But our nearest experience to Krishna in this world is, I would think, at least for me, is definitely Surya Narayan. And actually in England, because we don't have an awful lot of sunshine, when the sun comes out, everybody goes out to the parks. We have many beautiful parks, very, very beautiful, with nicely kept. And everybody will go out into the park and lie in the sun or sit in the sun, take lunch in the sun. Everyone will talk and be happy. The children will play. And in that way, everyone is unknowingly worshipping the sun god. They pay some dandavats there in front of the sun. So the sun is life-giving, giving heat and light and infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, and is considered the eye of this world. And by understanding the splendor of the sun, we can understand better who is Krishna. And it's so beautiful because Krishna says that he's the light of the sun, but at the same time he also explains to us that that's just a fragmental part. It's not the all in all, although Krishna is within everything and we can see him. And the pure devotee actually sees the form of the Lord in everything all the time. But us, we're practicing, we're learning, and we're getting better at it, but we're not there yet. But we learn to see Krishna in everything, even though Krishna is far removed from this world, just like the sun is far, far away in the sky, and yet we feel the heat and the light. We see the reflection in the water. We see the sun on the wall, illuminating the wall, or the sun going into the darkened room. I was thinking how the darkened room is very much like the material world. Material world is they say anda, jagadanda, is like an egg covered with many layers, not just one little like thin eggshell like an egg, but many big layers, multiplying 10 times each layer of all the the elements, and how we're encased in that in the darkness. But Krishna, out of his kindness, he gave us the sun, one sun. He gave us the sun, and therefore we have light in the universe. And as the earth planet spins, when it goes into its own shadow, then we experience darkness. But actually, darkness is absence of light. Just as where there is Krishna, there is no darkness. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Ankar. Yahan Krishna Tahe. Maya. Yeah, I skipped a bit on my notes actually. So the beauty and the wonder of the sunlight is, there's that fabulous shloka from Bhagavad Gita, Yad Yad Vibhuti Matsavam, Shrimad Udritam Ivacha, Tat Tat Ivagacha Tvam, Mam Teja Amsa Sambhavan. That just know, Krishna is saying, just know to Arjuna, that all the opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Even though the material world is so fantastic, you know, you've got Grand Canyons and you've got these Victoria Falls, you've got the Himalayas, you have vast oceans, so much opulence if man would manage it properly and be the caretaker of the planet. We have actually so much opulence on this planet, but it's really down to greed and mismanagement. But all this and all the stars in the sky and the different planets and the different universes is simply a little spark of the splendor of the Lord. Amsa stito jagat. It's just a tiny little bit of where, in a way that we can try to understand Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita that, Bhagavad Gita is a history that's traced from remote time, where Krishna originally spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. And Prabhupada says in the purport to that the kings and of the planets the kings who are in charge of the planets, and also the smaller kings who are in charge of countries or certain kingdoms on this world. It's very important to understand the science of the Bhagavad Gita, because in that way they direct the citizens of the dangers of lust and how to create a relationship with Krishna and how to achieve the ultimate goal of life, to go back to Godhead. Oh, here we go. Krishna is the sun and Maya is just like the darkness. And so we teach people that how to avoid Maya. There's no oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I jumped ahead with my notes because I got carried away just talking spontaneously, and then I'm trying to figure out my notes again. I'm sorry, I'm messing it up a bit. But as soon as there's no Krishna, then immediately we have darkness, Maya, Durga, the shadow of the chit potency. That means it's not reality. It's a temporary. It's not that you can't feel it and it's just imagination. It's real enough for us. In fact, it's very real for us, but it's not the ultimate reality. It's not the reality that we want, that we're aiming for. And so Bhagavatam appeared just after the departure of Lord Sri Krishna to his own abode, and it's as brilliant as the sun. And Purāṇako duhundita. It's as brilliant as the sun, and it reveals all the hidden things. There's so many hidden things in creation that we don't know about, like the soul. The soul is a hidden thing for most people. We know about it, we read about it. How much we understand it that's a work in progress, right? So there's so many hidden things. The law of karma is also a hidden thing for most people. And even if we know it still, we may do things that we get bad karma for. Reincarnation, it's a reality, but it's not on the plate. People are more interested in pound, shilling and pence. That's why they're all zoom, 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 zoom up and down the freeway, because they have to keep the roof over the head and some food on the table. Unfortunately, the world is made in that way by human beings with misguided, so that the real goal of life is lost to the most people, unfortunately. So the Puranas are there to teach us, and the Acharyas come to guide us and inspire us. And then the holy name comes to purify us. We realize Krishna by chanting his name, because his name, as we know from Srila Prabhupada, is non-different to Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur compared the holy name to the rising sun that dissipates the darkness of ignorance. Jivera kalyana sadhanakam jagate esse madhuranam. Avidya timara tapana rupe rigagane viraje. So we need to develop our love for chanting, because chanting is the easiest way. It's the easiest way. In this age of Kali, and there's no other way really, that's how it says, right? Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva, 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 gatyan yathā. There is no other way. But we have to find how to get that sweetness. We don't want to chant so much because we don't find the sweetness, right? If there's sweetness, if there's some honey, then we're very happy to eat some halwa, nice sweet. Some Mangalati sweet, very nice, right? But we need to find the honey that's in the holy name, so that we will be like Rupa Goswami, who desired to have hundreds and hundreds of tongues to taste the holy name. More sweet than the sweetest sweet, and more auspicious than other auspicious things, and more purifying than purifying things, Krishna's name, the holy name, is everything. Madhuram madhuram byopi, mangale byopi mangalam, pavanam pavanam byopi, harinam eva kevalam. So our goal is to love Krishna spontaneously, even obsessively, and then we will become fit to return to the world where there is no need of sunlight, moonlight, the self-illuminated abode of Sri Krishna, full of Premananda, Mahananda. That's what everyone is searching for. The search for happiness is the motivating force of every activity on the planet, of every soul. But due to poor fund of knowledge, Prabhupada loved to say poor fund of knowledge, due to a poor fund of knowledge, they're looking for happiness in all the wrong places and creating havoc. At present there is a situation of havoc, and it can get worse. But Prabhupada came and he came and he taught us, and he wants us to teach others, to spread this movement, so that everyone will understand that there is another reality, that this reality is a temporary reality and it's not ultimate reality, that the real reality is a transcendental seat known as Shweta-dvīpa, where the loving consorts in their unalloyed spiritual essence practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is a purpose gem, where all water is nectar, where every word is a song, where every gate is a dance, where the flute is the favorite attendant, and where all bliss is full of spiritual bliss. Effulgence is full of spiritual bliss, and all the supreme living entities are all enjoyable and tasty. Where numerous milk cows emit transcendental oceans of milk, and where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, which is without past or present, past or future, and hence is not subject to the quality of passing away, even for the space of half a moment. Such a realm is known as Goloka by only very few self-realized souls in this world. And this is the gift that Srila Prabhupada gave us, that we know we're here for some time, we got a lot of work to do while we're here, and we got to develop our love. I was thinking also how it's so interesting how, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very much like sun-like, glorious, magnificent, full of prowess. But when Lord Chaitanya talks about Krishna, because Lord Chaitanya mood with Krishna is Radha Bhava Suvalita Nomi Krishna Sarupam, that he is Radha and Krishna united in one form, and he has the emotion and the complexion of Srimati Radharani. This is Madhurya Ras. So where the Lord is appearing, with his club and chakra, it's replaced by his flute and his rope for tying cows, and his grand golden crown bedecked with jewels replaced by a simple turban with some forest flowers, and also some mud, colored mud. And he would spend, Krishna liked to spend his day herding cows and the nights dancing with gopis. Simple people, not Kshatriya, not the royal order, not the grand palace, but homely within Vrindavan, where the wealth is in the natural opulences, with meadows and forests, and the natural beauty of the Jamuna River. The moon-like descriptions of Krishna are Radharani's descriptions of Krishna. No rattling of chariots, no great prince. And she says, take me back to the bank of the Jamuna, under the Vitasi tree. My dear friends, Krishna's face is the enjoyer moon. This is Lord Chaitanya says this. My dear friends, Krishna's face is the enjoyer moon, and that full moon face makes his sharp-shaped earrings and lotus eyes dance. When we reflect in our hearts the radiant pastimes of Krishna, in this way we purify our existence and we contribute to the good energy that heals and that uplifts the world from ignorance. How are we doing for time? Okay. So we're just as there's one really nice, in this same chapter, there's also one other verse which I wanted to quote because I think it's really beautiful and the imagery is very strong. It's verse 23 of this chapter. The influence of the material nature has covered the living entity, and thus it is as if the living entity were always in a blazing fire. Samsara, Dava, and Nalalita Loka. But by the process of seriously discharging devotional service, this influence can be removed. This is Prabhupada saying. Just as wooden sticks, which cause the fire, are themselves consumed by it. So we need to take the wooden sticks out of the fire and let the fire die down, and put all our energy into developing what Prabhupada gave us, this knowledge, not just within ourselves, developing the knowledge within ourselves, that's a major first thing, but also to manifest it in the physical, to make it a reality, that people who are in darkness and ignorance can come within it and say, wow, I'd like to live like this. This is so beautiful. Natural life, simple life. Don't have to go to work for some terrible ugra karma, rushing on the freeway up and down, wondering how I'm going to feed my children, wondering if I'm going to be made unemployed. No, I like to live on the land like Krishna, keep some cow, grow some food, develop the temple, develop the Vrindavan mood, invite people and spread more and more Krishna consciousness, and at the same time provide homes for all the people who very much want to be closer to Krishna but are trapped in that terrible economic thumb screw, squeezing the blood out of them, having to work, having to like this all the time. They can't just relax because all the time they need the money to pay for everything. And we're so fortunate, us who live at the temple, with our cheap rent and walking distance to the temple. We have very, very special life because not many people are as lucky as we are to live here. And Sachi's telling me to finish the class, but not many people have the good fortune to live right at the temple and to be able to do full-time service. And I think that I feel something telling me to say that one of the things we do here on the earth is to find a way to create more facility for more people, because then the movement can expand exponentially. Hare Krishna. Quick questions. No, it's late. You can take this one.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for the nice class. So, Lord Kapila is explaining, giving the analogy of the sun and the reflection of the sun in the room, right? So the analogy given, he could have just simply said that maybe the sun is entering through the window and it is lighting up the room. But actually instead he's telling that first it's reflecting on the water and the water is reflecting on the walls. So there are two reflections here, first on the water and second on the wall, correct? So why two reflections? Why not just one reflection? Yeah. 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 Yeah, so the reason why the Kapila is actually explaining two reflections is understood when we actually read the next verse, because the next verse is actually continuation of this verse, because the first reflection is actually this is actually an analogy. It's an analogy of how a person inside the room can see the sun even though sun is very far, right? So the first he sees a reflection in the wall, and now by seeing the reflection in the wall, then he'll try to find the source. The source is the water. But again, when he tries to see the water, but actually even water is not the actual source. The actual source is sun. It's a two-step thing. So similarly, a self-realized person first sees the soul, and from he infers the soul, and from the soul he infers is the Lord. It's a two-step thing. First there's a soul and there's a Paramatma. Atma, Paramatma, they're two different things. So actually this is tied to the 10th verse. 10th verse also talks about the sun. How a yogi sees clearly in the sky the sun, right? And the 11th verse talks about how he also sees the Lord. So 10, 11, 12, 13, actually they're all combined into, it's the same thing, continuation. And the 12th verse is actually an analogy to tie how a self-realized person sees soul and the super soul. And these two reflections is an analogy given to understand all these four verses together. I would like to just make that point. Thank you.
Yasmin sarvani bhutani admanyeva nupashyate